Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about the election season currently going on here in the United States of America. Specifically, we're going to talk about Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. He's been the question and talk of the town recently because Hunter has had a lot of questions being asked of him, and he's also basically disappeared. You see, Joe Biden is, of course, the candidate for the Democrats, and he was formerly the vice president for 8 years under Barack Obama. During that time, Hunter Biden made a lot of money. He got a lot of weird jobs that he wasn't qualified for. He was transferred millions of dollars. He was put in charge of Chinese companies and hedge funds and all this very, very sketchy stuff that leads one to believe it happened as a political favor towards his father and the Democratic Party. I mean, you don't just hire some random son of a vice president who has no experience in your field and just put him on the big position of your company where he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I mean, you don't just do that for no reason. And it's obvious that he's not qualified for these positions and he's not really doing any work. This guy is actually a failed soldier who was discharged for abusing narcotics and doing bad things. He's also been known to see ladies of the night and do other inappropriate things. And this is just another part of the Hunter Biden story. And it's funny to bring up because, yeah, he's not the one running for president. And some people like to keep families off limits. And I understand that. But do you really think that they'd keep Trump's family off limits if one of his kids got caught getting transferred millions of dollars from a Russian person, no less? I mean, this is supposed to be what's happening with Trump. They said Trump had Russia collusion, but as you could see from this tweet and this news story, Hunter Biden is actually getting transferred millions of dollars from Russia. This tweet from Donald Trump Jr. says, Hunter Biden received $3.5 million wire transfer from Elena Baturina, the billionaire widow of Yuri Luzkov, the former mayor of Moscow, a known associate of Vladimir Putin. Where are our fearless journalists now when there's a real Russia connection? Right. So that's the big point here. They've been crying Russia for many years, trying to act like the Trump family was connected to them. They investigated them, had this whole big thing. The Mueller report came out. Nothing came of it, though. Trump is not connected to Russia other than, perhaps interacting with a world leader like he interacts with all the world leaders as the president. But there was supposedly interactions before the election. People tried to act like Putin was making Trump president somehow, some baloney that the left came up. They just basically couldn't accept the fact that Trump won. They couldn't accept that they lost, and they tried to pretend this big Russia boogeyman was the cause. But really, in actuality, what's really going on is the Bidens and the Democrats are more in cahoots with the Russians, as you can see here. I mean, why would she wire transfer him $3.5 million? There's a lot of reasons. I mean, there could be a non-nefarious reason. It could be some kind of bet or some kind of random payment. It's possible this is legitimate, but it certainly is questionable. And the fact that no one is talking about this makes it even worse. The fact that the media isn't going through with some kind of investigation, the fact that there's, as far as I know, no legal investigations yet, like this should be totally scrutinized. This should come up before the election. Like, we don't want to put Biden into office if we know he's going to cheat and give his kids jobs and, flirt with these potential adversaries of the U.S. I'm not even super worried about Russia as much as I'm worried about China. China is the one who spread a virus this year trying to kill people. They're the ones who, are constantly bashing America, trying to undermine us, trying to meddle in the elections. So the fact that Hunter Biden has all these connections is a bad sign. And that's why I think we should be worried and talking about this story more. This article from the New York Post has more details talking about this $1 million transfer. Let's see what it says. Hunter Biden received $3.5 million wire transfer from Elena, the richest woman in Russia and the widow of Yuri Luzkov, the former mayor of Moscow. Senate Republicans revealed in their report on the younger Biden's work in Ukraine. Baturina is referenced in the 87-page report, which was released Wednesday, addressing her payment to Biden's investment firm in early 2014. Baturina became Russia's only female billionaire when her plastics company Inteco received a series of Moscow municipal contracts while her husband was mayor. It's said in providing background on the businesswoman. The report described her involvement with Biden as a financial relationship, but declined to delve deeper into why the wire transfer was made. The probe also found that Baturina sent 11 wire transfers between May and December 2015 to a bank account belonging to Back USA, a tech startup that filed for bankruptcy in March 2019. So more shady stuff. Apparently, she likely benefited from her husband being the mayor in a city where her company was located. It gave her these contracts, like an exclusivity deal, which, can be shady, can not be. It's definitely not a good look. And the fact that she's connected to Biden, this is a Russian billionaire with shady background connected connected to Putin, giving Biden lots of money, and also, investing in this firm that went bankrupt. You're wondering where these monies went, like all these deposits 11 times. And you just got to think there's something going on. We need more details. I'm not sure why Hunter is not getting scrutinized like we talked about before. This is a total double standard by the journalists and the left wingers running the mainstream media. I mean, they scrutinized Trump and his family regardless of whether or not he did something wrong. They investigated him and made up stuff about them and tried to make stories into bigger things than they're not. And then at the same time, they're totally ignoring stuff going on with Hunter. They're totally ignoring the Biden family. And, Biden has other issues too. He's frail. He's old. He's decrepit. He's got his wife speaking for him. He also had other shady backgrounds that no one talks about. For example, Biden was cheating with his wife before they got married. She was married to someone else and they were both cheating with them. And, there's also cheating with Hunter Biden. Hunter dated his brother's widow. His brother passed away, unfortunately. And then Biden ended up shacking up with his brother's ex or his widow. And then there's other cases where he had an illegitimate child. Like there's just a lot of bad background here. And I mean, it sucks to dig up the dirt, but this is where we're playing. This is the political game. This is what the Bidens asked for. And you just got to ask yourself, like, how come Democrats get so rich while they're in office? I mean, this is the opposite for the Trumps and a lot of conservatives. Trump could be making more money right now if he wasn't president. He's doing this as a favor. He could make a lot of money if he was just working his companies, staying a private citizen. It would have a lot of easier schedule too. Like he wouldn't have as big a headache. He wouldn't be scrutinized and attacked by the media so much. And also, Trump's losing money. He's not making money right now. He's putting his whole business on pause so he could save the country. He's even donating his presidential salary to charities. So he's making very little money. And the funny part about that is the U.S. media wants to attack him for that. And they came out with this whole tax story that came out with the New York Times, and they got his tax returns. Now, that was obtained illegally. The New York Times was able to distribute an illegally obtained tax return on the president that basically proved he does nothing wrong. He just is a businessman who has good accountants that can get him the right tax breaks. And apparently they tried to pretend he paid $700 one year for taxes when really he paid millions in taxes other years. And during that year, he was president and he didn't make any money. Like I said, he's not making money as president. So that's really the difference. Like while they're in office, the Bidens and the Obamas and the Clintons and all the Democrats, they got super rich. I mean, Obama was already had a few $1 million before office, but coming out of office, he's worth like 70 million. The Clintons have hundreds of millions of dollars now, coming from their Clinton Foundation mostly. It's like, how do you have a charity foundation that makes these people millions of dollars? It's pretty crazy. And it just goes to show the different reasons the sides get into politics. The Republicans and Trump, they're here to save the country. They want to change things and for the better. They want to help people, and they're sacrificing themselves. Like they're sacrificing their salaries. Now, granted, I'm not acting like they're like Jesus Christ on the cross or something like that. Like they're not sacrificing their lives or doing the worst thing ever, but they are giving us their time. They are, foregoing their jobs and their salaries and the many millions of dollars they could be making. Instead, they're working for the country. While the Democrats are doing the opposite. They get into politics to make money. They want to do this to get deals and to get them $1 million transfers. And Biden's gotten rich while in office. He's been in office for 50 years. And how are you this long of a politician and then you come out with more money? It doesn't make sense. Same thing with Nancy Pelosi and a lot of other Democrats. It's really shady. 9 of those 11 wire transfers were first sent to Rosemont Seneca Partners, the investment firm founded by Biden and Chris Hines, stepson of former Secretary of State John Kerry, before being transferred to Back USA. All 11 transactions describe the payments as loan agreement in the details section. The report reads, between May 6, 2015 and December 8, 2015, Batterina sent 11 wires in the amount of $391,000 to a bank account belonging to Back USA. 9 of the 11 transactions totaling $241,000 were sent from Batterina's accounts to a Rosemont Seneca Thornton bank account, which then transferred the money to Back USA. The 11 transactions all listed loan agreement in the payment details section. Back USA was a setup technology company headquartered in Buffalo that produced tablet computers in cooperation with unnamed Chinese business partners. Back USA filed for bankruptcy on March 2019 with a reported loss of $39 million. These transactions were identified because of Batterina's reported criminal activity. It continues. The Probe and Reports Commission were overseen by the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee Chairman Ron Johnson and Senate Finance Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley. So looks like we have a few two good conservative chairmen there doing some work, digging in, finding out what's going on here. There's definitely a suspect relationship between the Bidens and not only China, but also Russia, two of our biggest adversaries, formerly at least, certainly China in the present. And yeah, this company filed a $39 million loss. That's not a good sign. Shows there could be some corruption there, or at least they were a failed company. You wonder why this lady was sending them hundreds of thousands of dollars just a few years before they went bankrupt. Their investigative work found that in 2015, two Obama administration officials voiced concerns to White House officials about the possibility that the younger Biden serving on the board of Burisma could create the appearance of a conflict of interest as his father, then vice president, oversaw Ukraine policy. The report states that the Obama White House knew that Hunter's position prevented the efficient execution of policy with respect to Ukraine, but that attempts by officials to raise alarms fell on deaf ears. So this is back to him working with this Burisma company. As we mentioned, Biden's son was appointed to this company. I believe this one was in Ukraine, and it was the same time Joe Biden was overseeing American policy in Ukraine. So that was while he's working under President Obama. Obama assigned him this certain task, which is his prerogative. And yeah, Biden basically used it to bully Ukraine and to give his son a cushy job. They make a lot of money. There was actually videos and other references to this before. We talked about how Biden actually bragged about holding these monies over Ukraine, saying, hey, the U.S. isn't going to give you this aid if you don't do what I want. In this case, he was trying to get this certain lawyer fired or off a case. The lawyer happened to be investigating his son. So you could see the line of thought here. You could see a lot of corruption, a lot of shady dealings, and a lot of bad signs on the Biden side. And really, this should be investigated more. This is directly connected to Biden. Joe Biden was working in Ukraine under the Obama administration. You know, his son eventually resigned when this election popped up, knowing there would be a conflict there. And it goes on and on. It's just a really bad, shady story coming from Biden and the Democrats. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw. Subscribe if you're new, and hit the bell for notifications too. Until next time, have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow.